Hi, I'm Carolyn Evans-Hammond, and welcome to my tasting room. Carolyn's tasting room is where you can taste exciting wines with me. And tonight, we taste a flight of wines that are perfect for holiday gifting. This is the first of a two-part series, and all the wines in this flight are red. They include the 2021 Thalia red wine from Greece, the 2020 Feudo Arancio Cabernet Sauvignon from Sicily in Italy, the 2020 Decoy Cabernet Sauvignon from California, and the 2020 Orin Swift Abstract from Napa Valley. So let's taste. So the first wine in our flight is a red wine from Greece. It's made from about 80% Agiorgitiko, which is the most widely planted red wine grape in Greece, and 20% Cabernet Sauvignon. So we know that going in. What I like here is it's not an expensive wine at around $13, but I think it's delicious and it'll definitely appeal to those looking for a little taste adventure because it's slightly different. You're tasting the Agiorgitiko. So pour yourself a glass, notice the color, great depth of color, which gives you a little confidence. You know there's going to be concentration when there's that kind of color. Give it a swirl and a sniff. Oh, isn't that lovely? I love the nose on this wine. It's very, very pure fruited, and it's all about, for me, black fruits. So blackberries, damson plums, black cherry, and there's a little bit of charcoal on there and a little bit maybe of clay or something, so a little bit earthy. I like that. So it's accessible but also slightly interesting. So let's have a taste. Does that surprise you? Did you think by looking at it would be like full-bodied and weighty? It's not, is it? It sweeps in light and lively. There's great mouth-watering acidity, and it is lifted, yet very pure, very well balanced. Do you notice that? Let's have another sip. Light-bodied, 12% alcohol, so nice and low. And there's no residual sugar. Now this does have a little bit like a whisper, I think around 4 grams per liter, but it tastes bone dry, scrapes the palate clean, and makes it very food friendly. Let's have another sip. Focus on the sides of the palate to see what happens there. Mouth-watering? Very mouth-watering. That's what keeps it lifted and quenching, really drinkable at the table. It's a kind of wine that's fabulous with saganaki, with all of those great, skewers that you have with Greek-inspired food. Great with feta, yes. But it also works, cocktail style. And you can have it at Christmas, over the holidays, by the fire or by the tree. And the second wine in our flight is Italian. It comes from Sicily, and it's a DOC Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet is a wine that, it's the most planted red wine variety in the world. Everybody loves it. And what I like about this wine is it's actually really affordable at around $16 in Canada and around $9 in the US. But I think it drinks like a wine that tastes like it could cost more. Pour yourself a glass, take a look at the color, great depth of color. Now this is Sicily. It's a very warm region of Italy. So you're getting lots of sunshine, and that's what you're getting in the glass because there's so much color from all of those sun-ripened berries. And on the nose, couldn't be anything other than Cabernet Sauvignon. It just smells like black currant drizzled with cassis. I always get those aromas from Cabernet, and it's so articulate here. Let's have a taste. Isn't that lovely? So ripe, so smooth, and yet there's a velvetyness there that lingers on the finish that gives it a little note of gravitas, a little bit of seriousness. So it's great because it'll appeal to everybody that you want to give this to, from the serious wine lover looking for tension and texture to the person who's still looking for that really ripe, really smooth style of red wine. Love that. Now let's have a quick sip and just taste it technically. Isn't that delicious? Now, if you are thinking technically, the reason it's so delicious is because it's so well balanced. No sugar sticking out, no acidity sticking out, no harsh edges, no tannins that are too aggressive or grippy. And the fruit concentration in the middle is ripe and full and beautifully cloaks the alcohol. So there's no alcoholic heat in the back of the palate. So that's why this tastes so great, along with the fact that the fruit is very clean. So there's nothing off-putting in the flavor profile at all. Lovely wine. I think it's terrific value. And it's the kind of wine I think you should give the pizza lover in your life. And the third wine in our flight is also Cabernet Sauvignon, but it's a little bit different because it comes from California. So it's sort of that sun-drenched golden state in a glass. It's also a little bit upscale. This is around $40 in Canada and around $20 in the US. Pour yourself a glass and let's experience it. First, notice the color. Great depth of color. You'd expect that depth of color from Californian Cabernet. And on the nose, now this is lovely. Yes, you're getting that cassis for sure, that blackcurrant liqueur. But you also notice, complexity. I'm getting toasted hazelnuts. Now that would come from the French oak. I think this spent about 15 months or something in French oak, 40% of which was new. So the new oak is going to impart more serious aromas, more defined aromas, which we're getting. That's the toasted hazelnut. But there's also coffee, a dusting of black cocoa powder, dark cocoa powder. Lovely, a hint of vanilla, a hint of maybe cherries jubilee, that candied black cherry dessert with, chantilly cream. Lovely. Lots going on the nose, definitely compelling and intriguing, and the kind of wine that just makes you want to sip. So let's do that. Isn't that good? Oh, delicious. This is easygoing, delicious, mouth-filling, palate-drenching, balanced, yes, velvety and long, yes, and it's absolutely why Californian Cabernet at this price point, hits the mark for so many people. It's a perfect wine to give someone who you don't really know what they like, but they like red wine. This is sort of a blue chip choice. And the last wine in our flight today is a big, bold red from California. It's called Abstract by Orin Swift in Napa Valley. Now this is a wine that's a blend of Grenache, Petite Syrah, and Syrah. And I think it's a wine that, well, let's taste and see. Pour yourself a glass. Notice the depth of color. Now this is a big, full-bodied red. We know it's 15% alcohol, so it's not light, but it's a dry, big, bold red. So it's a kind of wine that I think will go fabulously with a knife and fork. So, the nose, oh, isn't that lovely? Very expressive, but all big, saturated flavors. So, poached cherries. There's a hint of boysenberry or maybe raspberry that's probably coming from the Grenache, which is very red fruited. There's also a little bit of lavender or something like that, which gives it a savory sort of floral character, a little bit of herbaceousness too. And red meat, but the red meat is grilled red meat. Do you notice that? That's coming from the Syrah and the French oak. So lots going on. You could spend a lot of time on the nose. This is a more serious wine, a little bit more premium at around $55 in Canada and around $40 in the US. And it's a kind of wine I think that, you can pour with pride and you can gift with pride. Let's have a sip. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Now it's big and bold and mouth-filling, and yet there's lift, there's elegance, and there's wonderful balance because there's, enough bright, mouth-watering acidity that it holds up that fruit and it finishes clean and dry. And it makes the palate refreshed as opposed to leaving it cloaked, you know. Have another sip. Delicious. So good. And there's complexity. It sort of fans out with all sorts of things that we found on the nose, as well as more. Like I'm definitely getting toasted Brazil nut, maybe a note of chestnut, a little bit of graphite, some toasted tobacco for sure, smudged into the finish. The finish goes on for ages. I'm even getting a little note of aniseed or something like that, and black olive. Lovely. Now this is a bone dry wine, but it's got great sweet fruit, mid palate, delicious. It makes it the kind of wine you can enjoy cocktail style for sure, but it's also perfect with roasted meats. So it's a great dinner party pour. And as I said, the label, the abstract art on the label is a great conversation starter. So there you have it, 4 reds that would make fabulous holiday gifts. Did one of those wines seem perfect for someone on your list? Let me know. Hit me up on social. This is just part 1 of my 2-part holiday gifting series. So tune in Wednesday at 7 right here for part 2. Mark your calendar and don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps my channel. See you Wednesday and I cannot wait.